Welcome back to the Neshoba Valley Chamber Business Buzz podcast. My name is Melissa Fetterhoff. I am the president of the Neshoba Valley Chamber, and I'm super excited. Today, I am joined by Shannon Walsh of Premier Home Services, or as you might know them, Premier Can Dig It.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from excavation to drainage to septic work, you kind of do it all outside.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the work that you guys do, how it's evolved.
Yeah.
And let's start with the basics.
So we are a landscape construction and excavation company. So pretty much anywhere someone needs a hole dug, we can dig it.
Excellent.
And in addition to that, we also do hardscaping, like patios, walkways, retaining walls, lawn installs, lawn repairs, that kind of landscape work, which was really how we started. We started as a lawn mowing business, and over the years, it's evolved into what it is now. And so we don't mow lawns anymore, but we still do landscape construction. And now we've moved into septic systems as well and Title V inspections. So definitely it's been a very interesting evolution.
Yeah. Now, are you out there helping, doing the lifting and all that stuff?
Yeah, I have. I've been on every single job. I know how to operate all the equipment. I do the plowing in the winter. I've tried to move away from doing that as much as possible so I can focus on other things, because it's very challenging when you are in the field all day doing the work to do anything else besides the work. But it's good to know how to do everything, and it helps me help the customers in that I actually know what work we're doing and what needs to be done and how it needs to be done and how long it's going to take. And so it's helped me be better at my job, being forced to do manual labor over the years.
I'm an indoor kind of a girl myself, so I'm very impressed.
Oh, thanks.
So you're certified in NDS drainage systems. What is NDS?
So NDS is a drainage company. They manufacture most drainage products.
Okay.
So the fittings, the pipes, the channel drains, anything drainage related, they are the manufacturer of. They're not the only manufacturer, but they're a main manufacturer.
Okay.
And they created a certification program that people can take to learn about not just stick a pipe on a downspout, water flows downhill, but also the different types of products available, like when you would use a channel drain versus an in-ground drain versus a leaching chamber or a dry well. So they give you more knowledge, and then you get to be featured on their website, and you get to tell people that you're an NDS certified drainage contractor.
But that's helpful, because I, as the homeowner, do not need to know any of those things you were just mentioning.
Exactly. And most people don't. We love doing drainage because it really helps solve problems. Mm-hmm. And I have found over the years that it's very rare to go to someone's house and they actually know what the solution is to the problem. Mm-hmm. So having that knowledge and experience really helps us to help the customers, and it's a lot of fun to solve that problem. In some cases, it's really serious issues, water in the basement, flooding, and in some cases, it's more just we want to get these downspouts away from the house because it's making puddles or something like that. So it ranges the scope of work with drainage. It can be very small or it can be very complex.
Have drainage solutions changed much over the years?
The solutions themselves haven't changed much because water still flows downhill. Mm-hmm. And it follows the path of least resistance. And the goal with drainage is always just to give the water a new path of least resistance for it to take. What has changed over the years in certain towns in our area is that the groundwater table has actually risen. Oh. So people who have owned their houses for 20, 30 years who've never had water in the basement, now all of a sudden are starting to get water in the basement. And whether that's just climate change or housing developments affecting the water table below the ground. That's something we're seeing a lot more of, is groundwater issues that weren't there before.
Okay, interesting. So you guys also handle septic system installations and repairs?
That's right.
So what does the process typically involve?
So with the septic system, just like with drainage, sometimes it's a mystery because you don't know what's going on underground. Septic, if there's a major failure, it's generally pretty obvious. There's puddling on the ground, you can smell it, it's backing up into the house. The guy who comes to pump is like, you should be pumping this like twice. If you have to pump your tank more than once every 2 years, you probably have a problem somewhere in the system.
Mm-hmm.
But typically what happens is when someone's getting ready to sell a house, they have a Title V exam, and that the inspector will come, they dig up the tank, they dig up the D-box, they check inside, check for different obvious signs and sometimes less obvious signs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you find out if your system is passing or failing. And sometimes it's a small thing. We had a Title V exam this week that everything was fine. When we dug up the D-box, the lid had cracked and was crumbling. So the D-box needs to be replaced. But the rest of the system is fine. Mm-hmm. So it's just an isolated repair. The failures typically come when there's a problem with the tank or something with the leach field, because you can't reuse a leach field. Mm-hmm. So if something happens and the leach field isn't working, the entire system has to be replaced. And unfortunately, things aren't made the way they used to. So a system from 1967 that had been working just fine now will get replaced and probably needs to be replaced in like 10 to 15 years, unfortunately.
What's the so replacing a septic
Mm-hmm.
system? How long is that going to take?
So once a system is in failure, once it's recognized that it's in failure, the first thing that has to happen is there needs to be an engineered or certified septic design plan. Mm-hmm. That plan then goes to the town or the local board of health. They approve the plan or don't approve the plan. Sometimes conservation has to get involved depending on setbacks to wetlands and different water, bodies of water. And then once it's approved, we can generally start working right away. Okay. So it can be a quick process, but it generally takes a couple months from start to finish, from the recognizing the failure to hiring a designer. The designer makes the plan, goes to the town, back and forth. So we had one this summer that we knew it was in failure. It was a very old system. And by the time the customer hired a designer, and then it was summer, so like people were out of the office, and it was approved in August, but then it had to go into in front of the Conservation Commission. And that wasn't approved until the beginning of October. So that actually took a really long time. And then the installation itself only takes a couple weeks.
Okay.
But it also depends on the town. Different towns have different inspection processes and different requirements. And it rains, and that it can't be open when it rains. So there's a lot of pressure to get it done really quickly. So the leading up to the process can take a really long time, but then once you break ground, it typically goes pretty quick.
Okay. All right. So if somebody is considering selling their home, and they maybe have an older system, it might be something that they might want to do
as soon as someone decides that they're going to sell their house, they should get a Title V exam right away. Mm-hmm. I mean, I firmly believe that if you're getting ready to sell your house, engage your realtor as early as possible. Get your Title V done as early as possible. So if there is an issue, you have time to deal with it. The Title V we did this week, he's actually listing the house today, and his D-box failed. So we're going to have to tear up his lawn while the house is for sale, which it is what it is. But if he had done it a couple months ago, we could have already had the lawn repair. No one would have ever known, and it would have been fine. But certainly give yourself as much time as possible, because just because the toilet is flushing and you don't think there's a problem doesn't mean there isn't a problem buried under the surface. And it's better to know those things sooner rather than later, especially if you have to get a full system.
Yeah. Wow. So your team, talking about hardscaping, your team does some beautiful hardscaping. We've seen some photos. They're amazing. Walkways, patios, fire pits, retaining walls.
Yeah.
What trends are you seeing right now for outdoor living?
During COVID, there was a lot of patios, a lot of fire pits because people were at home. Now we're seeing more of a move towards just general curb appeal. I think with the housing market being so hot for so long, that a mindset has kind of changed where people are always forward thinking of what am I going to need to do to put this house on the market in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Yeah. So we've seen a lot of people come back more to traditional walkways. I want to say like back to basics. Like people are still doing some pretty crazy stuff, but definitely like less is more has become more of a trend that I've seen. People just want like the basic, like let's just get a new walkway and save our money for our septic system when it and I think that's, everything has just gotten so much more expensive that unfortunately sometimes the budget doesn't go as far. But I think a traditional walkway or patio is just as nice, and I think it makes such a big impact on just when you drive up to a house, an old walkway versus a new walkway, even if it's not some fancy product or paver. If it's just a basic paver, it still makes a big improvement.
Absolutely, I agree. So talking about like a finishing touch, which would be like the lawn. Now, I know you don't exactly do lawns anymore, but what goes into great lawn renovations?
So we love doing lawn renovations. It's actually one of my husband's favorite thing to do. We call it dirt work. So we usually, when we're doing a hardscaping project or any project, we include lawn repair with that. And not everybody does that. And I think that just comes from our roots. Like that the landscaping piece is never going to leave us. So when we're doing the lawn renovations, whether it's part of a project or that's the project itself, the process that we do might be different from some other people, but we really like down to the studs. We strip everything off the lawn, we get rid of it, and we bring in all new loam, dirt, for those who don't know, and grass seed and starter fertilizer. And I provide very good instructions on how to take care of a new lawn, and we have really, really high success rate because we're really good at installing lawn.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is, because it's always sad when, like, I can tell when people haven't watered their lawn. They're like, the grass isn't growing, and I drive up and I'm like, that's because you haven't watered it. Like, I can tell. But it is always disappointing to go back to take some after pictures, and it's like dirt and weeds. And I'm like, why didn't you water it? It's just water. That's the secret. It's the worst kept secret in lawn care is grass needs to be watered in order to grow.
I feel like that's not really even a secret.
You would be amazed. You would be amazed. People are like, so now I have to water it? I'm like, you have to water it. Yes, you do. Okay. Yes. If you want it to grow, you don't want it to grow if you don't care, then no, you don't have to water it. But yeah, you got to water it.
Well, we just learned that watering your lawn is a secret.
It's a secret that people seem to think is a secret and blows their mind.
So everybody, go water your lawn.
Go water your lawn.
Make sure that it's an even or an odd day or whatnot.
Exactly, according to local regulations. And in some towns they will allow variances if you do get a new lawn, whether it's because of necessary work like a septic system or an addition, or you're just getting a lawn renovation. Some towns will allow variances so that you can water your lawn every single day. Some towns don't. So it's good to also check with the town so that if you think there is a restriction and you're not going to be able to do that project, some towns do allow it. You just have to ask.
That's good to know. Nice. So you're a member of the Neshoba Valley Chamber.
I am.
And how has that helped your business how has being part of the chamber been able to help your business?
Well, this chamber is super vibrant, which is, I tell everyone that you're a rock
Thank
star, and
you.
I've told you that too.
Thank you.
But there's so many ways for local businesses to get involved with the chamber, even if it's just going to the after hours or the before hours or the lunches or joining the different boards or committees. And it just really opens up your world. When you work for yourself, it can be very isolating to be at home. Like my office is at my house and I have 2 dogs. And it can be just a lot where, some days I'm only talking to the dogs, So being able to have all these different events to go to, meetings to go to, opportunities to meet other business owners, learn new ideas has been really, really great because I've met some really great people and I've seen a bunch of different local businesses that I wouldn't have gone to. Like at the after hours, because they're always at different places. And I think the more people like in general, the better life is, because your world just gets bigger.
I agree. I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
What didn't we cover today that you would want people to know about what you do and about Premier?
One thing that sets Premier apart from other companies that do the same or similar work is that we have me. And most contractors, unless they kind of have a bigger operations, they don't have an office staff. So these guys are doing the work during the day, and then if they remember to return calls or answer your email, or they're scheduling their appointments like after work and they're tired and you can't get a hold of them because they're in the field working. And I know it's really difficult. And so we have me, and I have the flexibility of being able to really provide an extra level of customer service that some of the other businesses they can't, just because of the nature of the work and the nature of what we do. And that it's great for the customers. It's great for me because I can communicate with them throughout the day. If they have questions, I can respond pretty quickly. If they're having issues, I can pop over and take a look. And that is a big thing that sets us apart, is having a Shannon.
But you're a Shannon that knows, because you can get in the equipment and you know how it works, and
yes,
you've done it, and so you've got hands-on knowledge of.
Yeah.
So it's not just I would add that it's not just a call center, somebody answering the phones or answering the questions.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's true. And I'm an introvert. I'm actually not an extrovert. So I actually do not like answering the phone, because as an introvert, that's like a lot for me. I'm very good with emails and texts, but having the space to say, okay, I'm going to come to your house, and then as an introvert, I can get mentally ready to have a conversation with someone. So I'm not a call center. Want to be clear on that. But no, I do have the experience and the knowledge of what we do, and I've been in it since the beginning. Since there was only a handful of customers, some of our original customers we still
that's awesome.
have. Yeah, it's usually people move for repeat business, because we do a little bit of snow plowing and we do mosquito spraying. We just have the same customers year to year, and even the construction customers, they come back.
Yeah.
They come back and they're like, oh, now we need this, now we need that.
Yeah.
And having the positive experience of working with a knowledgeable team who does good work and actually cares makes a big difference.
Absolutely. I agree. So if somebody is looking for your services, where would they find you?
So they can go to our website, which is actually premierhomeservicesllc.com, but they can go to premiercandigit.com, which is much easier to remember. So premiercandigit.com, or they can call or text me.
She might not answer.
I might
She'll
not
call
answer.
you back, though.
I'll call you back. I'll screen it. And all my information, my contact, my email, my cell phone, it's all on the website. I am not hard to find. So premiercandigit.com.
Excellent.
And then they get to talk to me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah,
this was great.
Thanks for having me.
And I learned that you have to water your lawn. Who would have thunk it?
It's amazing. It's really amazing.
Thank you so much for listening today to our podcast. And of course, very special thanks to our producer, AJ from Clear Signal Productions.